today we're going to start working on our trig and geometry review. Okay, so we're going to be looking at trig and geometry. So these are things and ideas that we started looking at way back in September, way back at the beginning of the semester here. Some of these may be a little bit off topic or a little bit out of your mind's eye, but we'll come back to them hopefully easily enough. So first thing I want to quickly review is how do we figure out, well, what the actual ratios are. So let's start with a couple examples. Let's say we've got cos of 30 degrees. So if I want to figure out cos of 30 degrees, then I just plug cos 30 into my calculator, and that's going to spit out a decimal number. In this case, it spits out 0.8660. If I wanted to figure out, say, sine of 40 degrees, then I would put in sine 40 into my calculator. That would give me 0.6428. And if I wanted to figure out tan, that would give me, tan of 20 degrees. If I plug that into my calculator, I would get 0.3639. Okay. Again, one thing to just be aware of, any single time that you are using cos of an angle or sine of an angle or tan of some other angle, all that just represents is a number. Okay, and so you can substitute that number and play with that number just like you would with any variable that we've talked about in algebra. Okay, we can also figure out how to go from a ratio to figuring out what the actual angle is. So for example, if we had sine of angle A, and sine of angle A was equal to 0.75. Okay? If you want to figure out what that is, you have to do the opposite. Okay, well, the opposite of sine is sine inverse. So you do sine to the -1 of 0.75. Plug that into your calculator. And so the angle then, in this instance, is 49 degrees. Okay? You can do the same thing with tan. So let's say that tan B is equal to 0.5. Okay? Well, if I do tan inverse, again, of 0.5, okay, my angle is going to equal 27 degrees. And finally, if I want to try it with cos of angle of C, whatever angle C happens to be, and let's say that was 0.35. Okay, well, that would be cos inverse 0.35. Okay, and so angle C is going to equal 70 degrees. Okay. So again, we can go from using the cos of whatever angle it is equal to some ratio, or we can figure out what the ratio is and go backwards and discover what the actual sine is going to be, or what the actual angle is going to be also.